First of all, I interviewed with Randall Sullivan about 20 times, so I got to know a little bit about him, more than I do most, authors that I've talked to. And Randall Sullivan was known to be a hard-hitting journalist. He was known as a journalist with integrity. And he did not start off this book as a fan of Michael Jackson. He started off as very neutral. And he told me he was going to go where the evidence took him. And he examined the Chandler case and he examined the Arvizo case very carefully. And in the end, he concluded that from where he sat as an objective journalist looking back, that Michael Jackson was not a pedophile and that either case favored Michael Jackson's innocence. And I felt that someone like Randall Sullivan had more of a capacity to change people's minds about Michael Jackson than someone who starts off as a Jackson fan, okay? And I felt that Randall Sullivan, of being a hard-hitting journalist from Rolling Stone magazine, could go to the people who think Michael Jackson was a pedophile, who think he was guilty, and turn them around. And I really believe that has happened, because I know some people who have read the book who are not Michael Jackson fans, who really thought he was guilty. And they have now changed their opinion on him because of that book. Now, if someone picks up a book by someone who's obviously a fan of Michael Jackson, someone who really shows their praise of Michael Jackson throughout the book, they're going to have less ability to change people's minds than someone like Randall Sullivan. And I thought the efforts to suppress the book, which were clearly fraudulent and fake on the internet, were just very disturbing. The people that need to have their minds changed are not the Michael Jackson fans. They already know he's innocent. They know what a wonderful person he was. But I want to know, I want someone who can change these closed-minded people who think he was a pedophile who beat the system. And I think Randall Sullivan has done a lot to impress people with his objectivity, with his distance, and with his professionalism. And when he says, I looked at Chandler and I looked at Arvizo, and in the end, Michael Jackson was innocent in both situations, and in my opinion, not a pedophile, I think that really does a lot to help his reputation with people whose minds have to be changed. That's my response.
Awesome. Okay, we do have Luna Joe's birthday today. I want you to, yes. So maybe if you could say happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Luna Joe. You're doing a great service to the legacy and the memory of Michael Jackson. Every time you do one of your creative adventures, I stop whatever I'm doing to look at what you've created. I don't know where you get all this information and where you get all the stuff you have, but you're just fabulous. You're doing a great service to all the Michael Jackson fans throughout the world, and you're really helping preserve the memory of a very wonderful, wonderful person. Happy birthday.
And you caught, yes, happy birthday, and you caught some of the videos, like the one that you made for the last time that you were on this show, and when Gavin Arvizo was testifying. She really does a good job, right?
She does a wonderful job, and without the great work that she's doing, a lot of people would be clueless about what happened in the life of Michael Jackson, and particularly when it came to his court cases, and particularly with his criminal trial. It's 10 years ago we were in that criminal courtroom battling for his survival, and Luna Joe has done so much to keep alive the truth and keep alive what exactly happened and what people tried to do to Michael Jackson and how they tried to exploit him and take advantage of him. I think Luna Joe's doing a great service for people around the world. I really do.
I 100% agree with you on that one. We have Bo from Australia. He's a huge Michael Jackson fan. He can't call in, but he really wanted to give props to you and send his love to you via Australia. So there you go.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it very much.
Okay. We also have, let's see, Nan Forster via Facebook writes, and if you have a chance, can you try to ask Tom Mesereau why he didn't call Weitzman in to say why MJ lawyers advised him to settle with the Chandlers, like the prosecution called Larry Feldman and the Francia lawyers to say that they received settlement money?
Well, there were strategic decisions I made during the trial that, in my opinion, that would not have been a good idea for a lot of reasons I really don't want to go into. But, trials are tricky affairs because you can't always predict from day to day what's going to happen. And sometimes you don't call witnesses that you think you've already done well on cross-examination. I thought our cross-examination of Larry Feldman and some of these witnesses associated with these settlements were very effective. I thought that a lot of the punch that the prosecution thought they were going to get from witnesses like him was just not there. So my feeling was, after we did very well with those witnesses in cross-examination, the smarter course was to kind of leave that issue alone and go on to something else, rather than just sort of prolong it. And fortunately, these decisions were correct.
Yeah, and she also said that reading back so much of the testimony, as she did the other night, she just finds it so mind-boggling to believe even one shred of what Wade Robson is saying.
It's mind-boggling to me as well. I mean, I couldn't phrase it better. You know, I met with him, and I met with his mother, and I met with his sister before we called them to testify, and they were among Michael's strongest advocates. And he's a very intelligent, articulate guy, you know, who was adamant to me in the strongest way that he was never improperly touched, never molested, never abused. And he was so strongly in favor of Michael that I called him as our first witness. I just said, this is a great way to start a defense case, with this man getting up there, passionate, you know, adamant, articulate, intelligent, you know, and he was very persuasive. And he was attacked viciously by the prosecutor, Ron Zonin, who's a good cross-examiner. And he would not waver. He would not budge. And to have him suddenly, you know, reverse course the way he has in a civil lawsuit for money is very disturbing.
No question. Let's go out to the phones. Let's go out to 979. Please state your name and where you're calling from. You're on with Tom Mesereau. 979, it's your turn.
Hi, how you doing, Jordan and Mr. Mesereau? This is MJ Brookins from Texas. And I was going to ask Mr. Mesereau some questions, but I don't need to now because he's pretty much covered everything that I wanted to know. He started off answering, and he just finished answering, so he's doing a pretty good job without me having to ask anything. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for calling. Nice talking to you.
You too.
Okay, let's go out to New Jersey, I believe this is. 609, please state your name and where you're calling from. You're on with Tom Mesereau.
Hello?
Yes, you're on.
Who's calling? Jordan, it's Heather.
Oh, hi, Heather. Hi, Heather.
How are you? I didn't know I was going to be able to get on so quickly.
You're on.
Hello? Hi, Tom. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing fine.
Good.
How's everything?
Good. Great. Everything's great out here on the East Coast. It's a beautiful night.
Right.
We spoke once before, and I was really nervous.
Okay.
And you told me
nothing to be nervous about. Believe me.
And you told me that I was talking to a fellow New Jerseyman, you know, and I started to relax a little bit. So, anyway, it's great to be on. I started listening right after a couple minutes before Mr. Jackson had logged off. You were talking about the guy with the shooting that happened there in the theater a few years ago.
Yes.
You mentioned it. You guys, you know what? I'm curious as to what both of your opinions are. I'd like to know what happened to this kid for him to just wake up and say, I'm going to go I'm gonna go do some shooting, for lack of better words, tonight. I'm curious as to what happened to this kid, as to why he did that. And if you notice shortly after that happened, it just kind of died out. What happened to him? Like what?
You know, apparently he's a person with an extremely high IQ.
Oh,
who at times was brilliant in his studies in school. You know, clearly he's got to be mentally disturbed. He has to be mentally ill. He has to be living in some type of fantasy land with some, you know, a lot of paranoia thrown in. You know, and I'm not a professional psychiatrist. You know, I can't analyze them the way a professional would, but this person has to be very sick to do what they did. Have to be. He has to be living in fantasy land. He has to be paranoid. He has to, you know, he must think he's in some, you know, some Batman movie, and this is just playing or fantasy or something. But I mean, I don't know how anyone cannot think this person is disturbed to do what he did. This is one of the most horrifying chapters in American history, and the innocent people that he just slaughtered, and apparently appeared to be almost having fun while he was doing it. You know, a very sick human being.
Yeah. I could, you know, never. Me personally, me and a lot of other people couldn't understand what happened to this boy. Like what? You don't just wake up and say, like I said before, you're going to go, you know, try to kill a bunch of people in the theater. You know, the same thing with the school shooting. Yes.
I think he did have this all plotted out according to the timeline. This was done over months and months of time, it looks like. So I don't think he just woke up and did this like some of the other mentally ill people. I think, from what I was told at least, that this was done over a course of 6 months. But like Tom said, he's very intelligent. I think we have a big mental problem, you know, people that have mental problems. I think they need help. And that's where I stand with that. Anything else you want to add, Tom?
Well, you know, under the law, proving someone is insane from a legal perspective is not easy, because it's not just a question of being disturbed. The person has to not appreciate, you know, the difference between right and wrong while they're acting the way they act. And that's a very tough hurdle for defense lawyers to surmount. And you can show that someone is completely bananas, but at the same time, if they appreciated the difference between right and wrong, the jury is likely not to find them insane. That's right. But this man has to be very seriously ill to do this to innocent people. He has to be.
It's just it's terrible. Between that and the school shootings that happened right before Christmas, as I get older, man, I've lost my faith in humanity, which just, and I'm a human being. I've lost so much faith in humanity. It's disgusting. It's just, I think it's really just sad.
Yes, I agree.
You know, it's sad.
Absolutely.
It's a sad world. It's a sad world, man. It's just, but I guess there's other people that want to call in and talk to you, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time.
Well, very nice to talk to you.
Yeah, and again, Mr. Mesereau, thank you very much for everything you and Susan Liu have done. She's very quiet. She's very quiet. She doesn't talk. Like would she ever come on the show, or?
She doesn't like dealing with the media. She's a very private person. Just a brilliant, fantastic lawyer. When I met Randy Jackson and Michael Jackson in Orlando, Florida, when I went down to talk about becoming Michael's lead lawyer, the one condition I made was that Susan Liu has to be my co-counsel. And I knew of her brilliance, her integrity, her professionalism, and she analyzes every piece of evidence. She knows it backwards and forwards. She knew that case better than the prosecutors did. And I could not have accomplished what I did without her giving me information and helping me on a constant basis. She would go sleepless nights just to make sure that those witness books were prepared properly. She Her strategies and how to handle the prosecutors and the witnesses were just absolutely first class. And I'm just very lucky she was my co-counsel, and I'm lucky she's my law partner in Los Angeles. She's just a fantastic lawyer who consistently gets top results in cases, civil and criminal. She's really amazing.